Hi guys, it's Clarice and I am a little bit late today. I'm just gonna adjust my camera my holder so I can get this to focus down here without any issues. So just bear with me a moment. And I'm just gonna adjust this area as well. Today the painting that I have in mind is going to be vertical just because it's going to be a standing group of florals as opposed to the regular bunches. But I'm just not sure if I can get it all on screen. But let's see. For those of you who were here last Sunday, we did these and they turned out quite well. And then I ended up doing these on Monday because I was quite, like it was still on my mind and I still wanted to try it out. So I figured let's just try it out on Monday. And then when Monday rolled around, I was thinking, hey, you know what? Let's just experiment and see if I do one every day, is there a transition? How does it work out? Will I improve? And so what I did on IG Live, I kind of went ahead and started a new sheet and did one each day. So I started this on Wednesday. This was Thursday. This was Friday. And then finally I had this tiny spot for Saturday. So I kind of liked how it turned out. I feel like these florals really, it's tricky because it all depends on the amount of water to color consistency, and the more you practice, the easier it gets, the more it becomes like a step-by-step kind of situation. If you guys didn't catch last Sunday and you are interested, I definitely recommend checking out last Sunday's video just to see how I started it out initially. And this was throughout the week. So yeah, so that's that. Oh, a couple of people saying hi. Hello, hi. Thanks for joining, guys. From Alabama, Seattle, South Carolina, I believe. Oh, and Brazil. Hey, guys. Nice to have you here. How's everyone doing? I mean, this is like week 6 or 7 for us, and I'm going slightly batty at home. I feel like everything is becoming so mundane, but thankfully for watercolor, it kind of keeps me sane and the colors keep me excited and going, so grateful for that. Oh, Croatia as well. Hey, welcome. All different kinds of time zones here. That's exciting for me. And Canada as well. Hey, hey, hey. All right, so, oh, Dallas. Thanks, guys. Okay, so we're gonna start. For colors this time, so today I am going to try and paint this way. However, the screen isn't, so maybe I'll do it at a slant. I'll do it this way so then you can see me. How does this work? If I paint this way, would it be good for you guys to follow? Let me know in comments or in the chat section, actually. And accordingly, I can adjust if it's not. Okay, awesome, fabulous. So, okay, so for my brushes, I am going to be using, I have a couple, but today's main star is going to be the Filbert number 4. I always have my Neptune number 8. Definitely my Squirrel Mop brush number 1. And number 4, Silver Black Velvet, just because it's got a nice pointy tip. And then I'm just gonna have the number 8 Silver Black Velvet if I need it on standby. And for colors, I am using 2 kinds of oranges, like a dark one, a slightly lighter one. Sorry, again, these are my St. Petersburg colors, And when I initially got them, which was like 3 or 4 years ago, if you guys have been following my videos, you know the story. I kind of just tore them apart and started painting. So now I don't know what these colors are, so I can't really tell you exactly what they are. But my hope when I do these tutorials with you guys is that you draw inspiration from these colors. You don't necessarily mimic me, but go out and try your own mixtures and see how that works out for you. Using a red as well. And I'm going to be using a dark green for greenery. And then I also have like a black and a blue. And as I paint along, you guys will see what kind of colors those are, because the dark ones are kind of hard to see at this point. But yeah. Oh, and one more thing. I am going to be painting standing up today, just so I can have more flow. And so my visual can be aerial as opposed to sitting down and then kind of viewing it this way. I think that sometimes skews the results when you're sitting down. And also I'm trying to do a way looser style today in terms for the florals. So let's see how that pans out. So I will start off with using my Neptune, the number 8. And so I'm just gonna get my water in a convenient position over here. Oh, and guys, let's not forget our paper towel. You need the paper towel in case there's extra water or you need to wipe stuff off. So keep that handy. Okay, let's begin. So number 8, and I am going to keep my brushes there because maybe I can show you as I'm mixing color on screen. And I want to take some of the red that I have. And I'm just getting a mix of it on here. Now this is a lot cooler. I would call it more of a scarlet red or pink. Maybe people would refer to it as pink. And it is similar-ish to the quinacridone, I think, from Daniel Smith, which I also have right there, but I'm just going to switch it up today and use the St. Petersburg. So I have this done, mixed on the side, but I want to dip directly from here, and I'm just getting the tip with color. And this is how I'm going to start. So we're doing roses. And I'm going to start off with the centers. And essentially what I'm going to do is let's plan for a floral here, here, and possibly one up here. So let's do this one, which is facing up this way. And so I'm going to do these centers, and all I'm doing is just adding like C strokes. And I want to make sure that it's nice and saturated. And I'm just doing a couple of strokes over here and there. And now this is the fun part. I'm going to go in with my mop brush. I'm going to get a little bit of the orange on it, just tiny bit. And I'm going to smoothen things out. And I'm just going in certain areas to kind of have the color blend in. And then draw out from these strokes over here to make it more prominent petals. Pull some in there as well. And now remember, I have some on here, so I can always draw from there as well. But let me just get these first. And you want to leave a lot of white space to give it that nice airy look. So I'm going to get some of that pink that I have over there, and I'm just going to add it in the areas where I can see it's still damp. And you can always go back in with this, with the Neptune, going back into the red, and if you want to highlight certain areas, just kind of highlight them. And then I'm going to go back in with this. If at any time you feel like it's too much water, you need to like smudge some off, you can always take a brush that you have handy and you can just swipe it off like so. And that just kind of fixes the intensity of the color. That's if you don't want that much. And because I still have this brush handy, I'm just going to use it to create a couple of other strokes and carry on. So the rose is like a circular shape, and so the C's are kind of going around almost to form like a cute pattern. So if you ever get confused, like that's what you're trying to achieve. And so, yeah, oops. I'm going to keep doing that. So that's that. So that's a rose that we have. I'm gonna let this dry, and then actually before it dries, if you want to go in and add a little bit of a hint of an orange in certain areas, that is quite pretty. You can just kind of dip the tip and just lightly graze certain areas, and that just kind of adds a nice two-dimensional kind of tone to your rose. Nothing too fancy. I'm just going to smoothen this one out. There we go. That's it. So I'm going to let that one dry, and the next thing we're going to do is we can go in and do some of, we'll do another rose. But before, actually, let's take a break from the rose and let's do this other kind of flower, which looks more like a dahlia, that I'm kind of dying to try. Saw this method online and I want to try it, so this is, I think, the perfect time to try it. So I'll use my number 8 because I have it handy and it's clean, and I'm just getting water on it, and I am going to create a pattern that kind of looks like, it's just like lines coming into the center. So like a floral that has lines just coming out, I guess. Does that make sense? Are you guys following what I mean? Like from the center, if I'm just drawing lines going in with water. I hope that makes sense. So that's essentially what I'm trying to do. And you might have to bend your head to kind of use the light to see where your water is connecting. So you're just loosely drawing lines to the center. And they're like haphazard. They don't have to be perfect, but they need to be connecting for the next step. And you will see that shortly. So if it could be like, yeah, I think that's good enough. I'm bending down to look at it. And now for the fun part, I'm gonna go in with the Squirrel Mop brush. Actually, no, I'll go in with the with my number 8, and I will use my orange that I have, the darker one, and I am going to dip it in the center and just have it flow. So because the water is all connected, This is why it's kind of flowing in that floral pattern. Probably should have had more water, maybe, because while it's flowing, it's not quite doing the nice little effect that you would normally get with a, say, I think alcoholic paints. Alcoholic paints. You know what I mean. Okay, so we're doing this, and once we have this effect, I'm going to go ahead and take the Squirrel Mop, and using just water, I am going to spread it out. So I don't want to press down too much because I'd like the petals to be thinner. And I'm creating like a haphazard pattern to kind of just extend it out to like a nice flowy looking floral, a full looking floral. I want to keep a lot of white space in there, so it's nice and breezy and loose looking. And you just have it flow out. And you're essentially dragging. You can drag from outside in, and that will be a nice effect, but you try it both ways and see which one you prefer. If you're going from outside in, that's kind of keeping the color inside, but if you're dragging from inside out, you're dragging the color out with it. So see which option you prefer, if it creates any interesting effects, you want to try that out, go for it. Now once I have this, I'm going to go in and add some more color just to intensify what we have going on here. And then maybe have that even flow through. But not all over, because you want it to be, you don't want it to be like one big blob of the same color. And when you do a technique like this, when there's water all over it, you kind of run into that issue. So you want to try and make sure that you have just certain areas with that color, and then you can go in and kind of get another version of that color. So like I have my lighter orange, I'm thinking it might be a little too close to it as it is right now. So I'm going to try and mix some of the red or the pink that I have and just see if I get a nice enough orange hue. And so I've just mixed some on the side. And this is the color that I'm getting, which is like a pinky, scarlety orange almost. And I'm just going to use these, dip them in certain areas around, and get this kind of artsy looking floral. And take advantage of the fact that it is still damp to kind of get that nice two-tone effect and a nice blend as well. And you can have some petals just at the top without it actually touching anything, so that's an indicator of the different layers that we have going on. Now once I have that, I want the center to be a lot darker. And in hindsight, as I look at this right now, it would have helped if I probably left more white space in the center, just to kind of give it a little more of an airy look, as opposed to just everything being bunched up. Now for the center, because I want it to be a lot darker, I can either wait for it to dry up, or I can introduce like a dark brown just to kind of make things a lot darker in the center. So let me try just a little bit to see what happens if we do that. I'm just gonna add a dab here just to see how that flows, because it is still, no, this is too light. So we need like a really nice dark, you know. How about we try the, yep, actually I have a dark, fairly darky green brown. I'm gonna try this. Let's just see. No, it's looking too dirty. Okay, I'm just gonna wait for it to dry up, guys, before we go back in and add some more detail to it. So let's just keep this aside for now. And I'm just wiping that off so I don't dirty it. In fact, maybe all we need is for this to dry up, and then we just go in with another layer of the orange, and then voila, we're done. So let's leave it to dry, and let's do the other rows for now. So the other rows is pretty much the same colors that we used, but I would like it to be facing up this way. This one's facing this way, this one in this direction. And for that, I am going to go ahead and get the number 8 and get a good enough amount of actually not a good enough amount. I just want a light wash of the pink, and that is to create the first layer, which is this right here, the inside petal. So I just want it to be like you're creating a petal and you're moving all the water down, and the edge of it should just be like how a petal would be. And then once that is done, we're going to go in and do, I just dipped the tip of this into the red itself, and I am going to do this, which is just, I have the back petal and now I'm doing the bottom petal. And now we'll go in with the, where's my Squirrel Mop brush? I just had it, oh, it's right here. The Squirrel Mop, and we are going to spread it out. And look at that color flow. Just remember not to do it, overdo it with the strokes, because then the floral becomes way too big. But if you just kind of do a few loose strokes here and there, that really serves the purpose well. So I'm just going to go back inside and do my comma strokes, framing the center. And just adding some to the edge as well. And then not forgetting, if you want to go in with the orange that we have, the very slight orange, and you can just add some at the tip of the petal. Oh, this one's pretty dry here, so I guess it's not blending as well. That's okay, because the blend strategy is just go in with a brush that has some water and kind of just blend it out. And you can just swish the color around as well. That's a little bit too yellow, so I can just go in with my brush that I was using that had the pink, and just kind of smoothen it out, and then I can just dab it with the paper towel. And then just go back in with the brush and just smoothen it out some more. And that kind of fixes that issue if it persists. Now the center I feel needs just a tad bit more of a darker shade, so I'm just gonna go in with the black that I have. And I just want to add a tiny bit. Just so it gives it a little bit of depth. And then just leave it at that. That's fine. Now we can proceed to doing some of the leaves and some of the greenery that we have going. And for that, I'm going to use the number 8. We'll come back. These are the 3 main florals that we have going so far, but I want to do the leaves and then we can come back and do some other tiny things to kind of tie everything together and finish it up. So the next thing I want to do is I just want to create some visual contrast between these soft but bright colors that we have going against this nice dark green that we have. And I'm just going to do the stems, and I'm just very loosely kind of drawing this down. And just kind of pressing down the brush, tapering the edge. And just very lightly doing strokes. So it doesn't have to be perfection, it just has to be loose. And if you know how to do, or how I do the leaves, it's pretty much pressing down and just going towards the edge. I'm going to leave a little bit of white space in between as I do the second half of this. And there we go. And I want to drag the color to the edge here. And that's good. And then you just want to do little strokes and just pressing it down. So the leaf should not be perfect. It should just be loose and just flowing over the place. Spreading out over the place, rather. Same thing with this one here. I am going to add a stroke. And just loosely draw another one here this way, and then having this one kind of go from the inside out. Just like that. And then same thing over here. This can be like a folded leaf, if you will. So literally it's, your hand needs to be really loose when you're doing this, because you're not looking for perfect strokes, and you're not looking for things to connect and form a full image. So that's why we're going super loose with that. Just for, I'll do the same green for this stem as well, and then we're going to introduce the blue that we have. And so just pulling it down very loosely. This one, if you don't want it to meet the very end, that's fine, just leave it as is. And I'm going to extend from here, and I'll do these leaves slightly different. They might not be correct in terms of, does this leaf match the flower? Probably not, but we just want a visual difference in shape. I'm just going to add some at the top as well. And while we're at this, I can mix it with some of the brown that I have. And that gives me a slightly different color of green. And so it could be like a shadow effect if you wish, or not. Or yeah, it's less detail, just very loose, and you can have it flow in a direction if you wish. Connecting it down here, and then I'll do one in this direction as well. Where's my color? Right here. Now this is going to look slightly more brown. But I love the dark and light contrast that you have going, and the fact that it's like so loose, and it's like a hint, like you have a hint of or an idea of what it is, but you can't quite tell. It's like a very abstract-y kind of situation happening. So I've done these, and I'm going to go ahead and do these stems of leaves, which are going to be in this blue that I have. And then we can always come back and add more greenery and more florals or buds for this setup. I just want to make sure I have the right color. Yes. So this blue, it looks something, well, I don't have a sheet of paper here to swatch it for you guys, but as I lay it down here, you're going to see it. And I'm just going to do a stroke, but I want to make sure I get a good enough amount of blue on here. And so I'll just start midway here. Oh, that's too thick, but that's fine because we're doing loose florals. So I don't know if you can tell, but it's almost like a gray blue. And I am going to do the leaves. Maybe these could be like a eucalyptus kind of plant or stem. And you're just kind of creating the leaves on the stem. And I'm just gonna use some extra color at the tips to kind of have it flow in nicely and give it that nice flare of color. And then I'm going to do some here as well, but because there's a thing of green below it already, I'm going to get a good enough amount of paint, and let's really lay it on there just to kind of give it that nice contrasty look. And then you can taper it off. And there we have one. And I'm going to do another one on this side here. And for this one, literally, I'll probably do it turning over this way just to kind of give it some nice flow. We have these two facing this way, some of these going this way, and then this one over here. Or in fact, it could also be like an extension of this one coming down. Let's just do it this way first. So I have that. Dipping it in water and just pressing down my brush and kind of creating these loose leaves. To create this interesting effect. And I can leave these as is so they don't overpower the rest of the painting, because I kind of like how the color is here. Instead of going darker, I'm just gonna kind of have it taper off into like a lighter shade. And just move the color all the way down to the edge. And leave it at that. And then I'll do some light ones over here because, as you know, I like to do my things in threes. So I'm just gonna do a very small stem, showing this in the background almost, so it's not too overpowering. And then we can just have a thing of color there. And then I'll just extend the line or the stem here very lightly. There we go. And so now we can kind of go in and add some fillers around the place. And then once those are done, actually no, before we do that, we should do the second layer for the florals, just to kind of give it that brighter look. And then we can do the additional ones. So for this one here, I'm going to use the same red that I have used to paint around, and I'm just going to highlight or enhance the center a tad bit more, just to give it a nicer 2D, 3D, 2D, not 3D effect. And for that, I'm just creating like small C strokes just in the center. And then I'm just going to take my number 8 with just water on it, and I'm going to try and smooth out the edge strokes here. And then leave that at that. And then for these ones, I'm using the same color. And in fact, I'm going to use mixing it with some of the orange that I have on the side. And I just want to highlight the center just like I did here, but with very light, loose strokes. And then anything that's to the edge, I'm just taking a paintbrush with just water on it, and I am smoothing it out. Oh, I kind of messed up here. This had not dried up and my hand went over it. Try and see if I can salvage that. Actually, it's fine the way it is. I'll do a nice splatter at the end of it all. So I just did the edges. I didn't do anything on the top, so I just wanted to enhance the color with the petals coming out. And then leave it at that. And then for this one now, we're going to use a combination of the red and the orange, and I'm thinking that's going to be a nice bright color. So I'm mixing the bright orange, the bright red, but more of the red than the orange because we don't want it to be too similar. And I'm using the number 8 again. And I'm just going to add, to start off, I'm going to just make sure this is not wet. Just going to do tiny strokes. Very lightly. Maybe even if you used your number 4 or any of your thinner brushes that you have for this, it would work. And it's literally just to give it a little more depth, because right now it was pretty much like a nice pretty design, but it didn't quite have that depth. But once you add this color in it without overdoing it, it should be like a nice effect. I'm trying to make it very sporadic in terms of size because maybe light is hitting these petals and you can't really see them. Oops, that one went a little bit sideways. And I'm going to just add some kind of not really touching or not really, yep, extending all the way down, but just kind of that way. And I'm just adding just a tad bit here. I don't want to overdo it and make it look too flat. But I just want to kind of trail it off as opposed to just abruptly ending it. And then I'll just leave it at that. And we're good, because this is supposed to be a loose style of painting, almost kind of abstract. I mean, you can go a lot looser than this because I still kind of went in and did that additional center and over here as well. But when you add these layers, you can see that it kind of really enriches your paintings as a whole. It just makes it look so much nicer when you give it that extra depth. But that's my opinion, and art is really subjective. So really and truly, if you guys don't like it, and like, you absolutely don't have to do that additional layer. You could be trying to achieve something that's very light and romantic looking, and you don't need the additional harsh colors. It's totally fine. So for the last thing, I'm just going to add a couple of buds and like light florals around, because we have our 3 main. We have some nice interesting color with the leaves, and I just want to add some tiny interesting ones, interesting florals that kind of highlight the areas. And for that, I'm going to use the number 4. Actually, you know what? I completely forgot. I said I was going to use the filbert, and I didn't end up using it at all. Rats. I should have used it for these florals right here. Trying to think. You know what? I'm not going to risk it in case it totally botches everything up. Let's save this for next Sunday. Sorry, guys, completely forgot. So for the final touch-ups, I'm going to use the I'm going to use a yellow. I'm going to use this one that we have right here, and it's like a mango-y yellow that we have going on. And I'm just going to mix it in my palette where I have a little bit of the orange left. And just to show you what that palette of mine looks like. Give me a second. So there I have that mixture of the red, orange, and then I have some yellow on the side. So I can get a variation of that. And I'm just going to do some very easy, loose filler flowers. And we'll just have some around here, and literally I'm just using my brush to make the stroke, or make the petal rather. And I'm doing 3 like this. And then just trailing off with buds. And I have some of the orange on there, so I'm just going to use the orange to touch the tips or the ends of the florals. And then I'll go in with the number 8 and just extend it because it's still kind of wet right now. So I'm just going to extend it down here and use some of the brown. The dark brown, remember the dark brown that I tried to use for the center? I'm just going to use it to draw and extend and have some interesting additional florals here. And just have it kind of trail off. And again, this is just to create some visual interest, so to speak. I'll just have some extend from there all the way down here. And then making sure that it goes all the way down, kind of. And then the same thing, let's just do the florals over here as well. Just a couple of strokes and then let it go. Literally, that's all you should be doing. And then, like I said, do the tip in orange before you go in with the brown. There we go. That's it. And then we'll just do a couple over, poking out from here, and then maybe a couple over here as well. So making sure some of the orange is seeping into the yellow here, so it's coming into this different color. So again, just 2 strokes and like one fuzzy one at the top. Oh, then we are touching the tips with the orange. And then going in with the brown. Then just like we have some of this going on there, we'll just do a couple here as well, so it doesn't look quite out of the blue and random. Oh shoot, look, see, I messed it up again. Touching all my... Oh, I messed this area up. It's okay. I'm gonna have to try and keep this in mind, not to keep doing this. All right, so I'm really liking how like the orange and the blue and everything go together. Let's just do this one last thing and then we can wrap things up. If you guys feel like you want to add more greenery and stuff to it, you can absolutely do that. But I kind of like the amount of white space that it has, so I won't be adding any more to that. I'll just add some of the yellow florals here. And even that I feel like is not really needed. orange at the tips. And then just going in with the brown. And I'll just extend that brown twig down here this way. Just adding some over here as well. So it's like a nice contrast. And yep, there we go. So this is it. I'm gonna end it right here because I feel like it's nice and sporadic and very artsy slash what's the word? Abstract looking. I think I could have done without adding these brown ones just to kind of keep that flow open. But hey, you know what? I am trying with you guys, so next time around I won't add these many twigs, but yeah. So this is it. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I see there's a lot of comments happening here. Oh, thanks guys. Oh, Portugal's here. Make it look so easy. Thank you so much for joining. I'm always so humbled to see everyone that like comes in and takes the time to come and just like share this space with me. Oh, Belgium's here too. Glad you guys enjoyed this, guys. As per usual, let me know what you guys thought. If you are shy to write it in the chat, let me know in the comments below. And if you have any requests, I would be more than happy to oblige. Next Sunday, I think I'm going to do something with strawberries. I've had 2 requests for strawberries, and so we're going to do florals with strawberries. So I'm working on that. And next Sunday also, I am getting ready to do another free floral giveaway. Not giveaway, sorry. Download. If you guys aren't aware, there's a link below in all my videos, almost, at least the new videos, where you can sign up for newsletter and get free floral high-res PNGs for your projects. Some of you might be creating digital stuff, scrapbooking, whatever. Check it out. And I think I'm going to make this, because I'm creating so much artwork, can totally digitize it and put it out there. So I will have something new for next Sunday, so you guys should look out for that. And yeah, other than that, I hope everyone is doing very well, and I will see you guys soon. I'll read the comments. If there's any requests at all, please let me know, and I will do my best to figure something out. Thanks, guys. Bye.